guys, and welcome to Life with Mare. Today I'm doing a mommy tag. I was actually tagged by my good friend Ruby from the Life of SNR, and I'm gonna post her information here for you guys to take a look, and I'll also link her information down in the description box also for you guys to go check her out. She's actually getting married this year, and I'm so excited for her. I can't wait for her to finally get married to her fiance. It's gonna be beautiful. She's gonna be such a beautiful bride. And so she tagged me on this since we are both mommies, and it's all about my firstborn tag. So there's a series of 20 questions. I'm gonna be answering them, and we'll see if my son will come in and do a little sneak appearance in this video. So keep watching to see all about my firstborn. So the first question is, was your pregnancy planned? So I actually did not plan this pregnancy. I was only 18 years old when I found out that I was pregnant with my firstborn, and it definitely was not planned. I ended up giving birth to him at 19, so I was quite young. And if you're actually interested in a video about what it was like to have a child at 19, I guess you can say it was a teenage pregnancy, although I didn't really refer to myself as being a teenage mom because I was quite mature for my age. I know a lot of teenagers probably say that, but I really felt like I was really mature for my age, especially when it comes to now. Like if you see a 19-year-old now compared to like 20 years ago, there is a big comparison in the maturity level at 19. So I was not married. So question number 2 was, were you married? No, I was not married. It was just 1 year after I finished high school, so I definitely was not married. And I'm actually getting married not to his father, but somebody else. And we've been together for 7 wonderful years, and we will be getting married hopefully next year if this COVID-19 will go away, so we can go on our dream destination wedding. So number 3 is, what's your reaction to finding out? So I went to do a blood test actually at the doctor, and I remember sitting on the steps just outside the doctor's clinic, and I started breaking down and crying, and his father was there at the time, and I was just in disbelief. I couldn't believe it. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I was just in complete shock. And it did take me a little while to absorb it and to finally realize what was actually happening, because I was in denial. I couldn't believe it. Number 4 is, were you induced? Yes, I was induced. I was induced exactly 1 week after my due date, and the reason is I went in for a non-stress test, and they found out that his heart rate had dropped a little bit, so right away they decided to induce me just to make sure that his heart rate didn't go down any further. Question 5, how old were you? Like I mentioned, I was 18 when I found out I was pregnant, and I had him when I was 19 years old. The first person I told when I found out I was pregnant was his father, and the next person that I told after that, I will always remember, was actually my mother. We were on our way downtown in Toronto. We were on the subway, and we were headed to Honest Ed's. So for those of you that remember, that store was actually shut down last year or a couple years back. It's called Honest Ed's. It's like a thrift store that had like everything and anything in it. And we were on our way, we were in the subway, and I remember just looking out the window and letting her know the information, and letting her know what just happened, what I just found out. So like I mentioned already before, the next question is, how did you find out? I found out obviously because I had missed a period, so I decided to do one of those pregnancy tests at home, and they usually come out with false negatives, so I decided just to go for a blood test and check it out for myself just to make sure, and I found out by the doctor letting me know. The next question is, did you want to find out about the gender? I actually didn't want to find out about the gender because I'm pretty old school when it comes to things like that. And if you guys have ever seen my unboxing videos, you'll know that I really love surprises. And I find that having your child, especially your firstborn, should be a surprise. You shouldn't know if it's a boy or girl. It should just be, you know, what God's given you, what you've been handed, what you're meant to have. And I really wanted that to be a surprise, and I'm really glad that it was. Whereas, I mean, nowadays they have like all these gender reveal parties and all these things where I liked not knowing and just having that big surprise, the biggest surprise ever. So my due date was actually December 23rd, 2003, and I gave birth on December 29th, 2003. So actually it was a little bit less than a week that I was induced. However, I was scheduled for an induction on December 31st, so he could have been a New Year's baby. But because his heart rate dropped, like I mentioned, that's why I had to get induced earlier. So the questions are a little bit repetitive. Did you deliver on your due date or after? So I delivered on the 29th, I was due on the 24th, so it was 5 days after, but I was actually scheduled for an induction on the 31st, which was 7 days after my due date. Believe it or not, I had absolutely no morning sickness at all, and I'm really glad that I didn't because I cannot stand throwing up and feeling nauseous. So through my whole pregnancy, it was amazing. I did not feel sick at all. What did I crave? So when I was pregnant with my firstborn, I actually worked at a little local mall, and I went on my 15-minute break all the time to McDonald's. I craved chicken nuggets from McDonald's. It was so delicious. I always just ordered a 6-pack and ate them. Like, it was every couple days because it was right there. It was right near my work, and it was so good. I did have another craving, however, which is not so delicious to many of you maybe, but I had a craving for snails. I know some of you may or may not like snails, however, they're absolutely delicious, and I'm not talking about escargot that you get at a restaurant. I'm talking about the little squirmy little snails that you find outside when it rains. And yes, you may think it's gross, but us Italians, we eat it and it's delicious. My first pregnancy, I gained a whopping 40 pounds, which is the most I have ever gained. So I usually sit at about 120 pounds, and with this pregnancy, I went up to 160 pounds. So the gender of my firstborn, if you're not aware by now, by hearing me talk or by seeing some of my other videos, is it was a boy. So I actually did not have any complication during this pregnancy. Thank goodness. I was very blessed that I didn't have any sort of issues. I mean, I experienced a lot of lower back pain, but I guess because I was quite young, it was a pretty good pregnancy, so I cannot complain. So yeah, it went really smooth besides the lower back pain, so I'm really blessed with that. The next question is, where did you give birth? And I prefer not to give out that information, but I did give birth to a really great hospital, which I really love. And my other second child was also born in that same hospital, and we were treated really nicely, and it was great. I was in labor for 12 hours with my firstborn, in active labor once I got induced. And it's funny because every child after that was decreasing by half. So my first child was 12 hours, my second child was 6 hours, and my third child was 3 hours. So the nurses actually made a joke when I had my last child, Luciano, and they said, well, you'll be back again, and you're only gonna take an hour and a half to give birth, because each and every time it was decreasing by half. So it was a funny joke that the nurses and I shared. My baby boy weighed 9 pounds and 1 ounce. And can you imagine, I'm not a big person, so everyone on the floor, all the nurses, everyone were like, this little tiny lady came in and had this 9 pound, 1 ounce baby. And I was so tiny, and they actually gave him a nickname because he ate so much, he wanted to eat all the time, and he was so big, so they called him the Barracuda baby. All right guys, so here's my son. You guys have probably seen him in some videos. Next question is, what did I name my firstborn? And I named him Romeo Giovanni. And the reason I named him Romeo is because I like that name, and Giovanni is after my uncle that passed away. I wanted to show some respect and just wanted to have his memory live on, and that's why I named my son Giovanni with the middle name. So the last and final question, guys, is how old is your firstborn? So guys, 16 going on almost 17 in 2 months. Can you believe that? Do I look like I have a 17-year-old, guys? Let me know down in the comments below how old you think I actually look. 50. All right guys, that's the end of my video. I really hope that you enjoyed it and got to know a little bit about my pregnancy with my firstborn Romeo Giovanni over here. And if you guys like this video, make sure you give a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't joined my family as well, guys. I'd really appreciate it. And I hope to see you in another video. So take care, guys.